Alright, so this is how to open your Razer Wolverine V2 Chroma. I had to open it, I wanted to open it to here, to be honest, because this button became loose. You can see that this is kind of in place and this one is wiggly. I did receive a replacement from Razer because it was still falling within warranty. But I still wanted to see what the problem is, and I want to show you how to open this thing up in case you want to. And unlike similar models here, you first remove this faceplate, basically. Then we're going to take off the sides here. Only then we'll get to some screws that we have to remove. It's a normal Phillips kind of small screwdriver. And then we can take off the back of the controller. It's a bit tricky, like not totally tricky, but you should know where to lift. So first I'm just going in here. Oh, by the way, this kind of like plastic spatula, this works perfect for most of the things that we have to kind of like pry open. So you start with, so I'm going in and then I'm twisting it to get a leverage. You need to watch out if you're doing it on those buttons because they can also break, so just be a bit careful. But you can, once you have it open here on the side, oh, it's a bit wiggly. If you go in here, you're fine. Then you just, it's gonna click quite loudly. And I first thought I'm breaking off the connection points, but you should be fine. It's a bit tricky doing this with the camera in the way. All right. So. Okay, this is actually going the hardest. I've already opened it a couple of times. Now that I do it on camera, it's going a bit trickier. No, there we go. Going in here, just lift that up a bit. Just work your way around. It does sound a bit brutal, but you're right. All right, there we go. Then you're taking this faceplate off. You see that there's these kind of like hooks, the clips that you kind of have to lift out to get this faceplate off. So this we're putting aside. Now we're taking away these rubberized grips. You're going to see the LED strip coming up as well. These ones go quite easy. You can just go in and then lift them off with your hand as well. There you go. This is one side, and then the other one. You don't really need a tool for it. Maybe just to get the first, like this part, try to get this little part up. And then once you get your finger in here, you can just lift it off. Then we get to the screws. And let me just grab my screwdriver here. I think this should do. This one is a little bit too small, but it's magnetic. That's why I like to use it. And I think there's in total 8 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are they? 5. Wait, again. So you have one here, one here. There's one, there's one. Here under the LED strip. And then here, symmetrical on this side as well. So in total, 8 screws that we're gonna have to remove. All right, so now we have all the screws out. We still need to lift out this plastic piece because I realized there's 2 hidden screws under there. Again, go in between and then just try to give it a nudge to open. There we go. And then there's 2 more screws hiding under here. All right, now we have all screws out. Now we have to lift off the back plate, and same as the front plate, it's clicked in. And the easiest way I found to remove it is, I'm seeing my plastic spatula starting to give away. But if you're going in here and you again give it that tension, the torsion movement to lift it out. There goes the first one. There goes the second one already. And then you see it's already coming loose. And then usually if you're going from the opposite side and you're trying to give it a bit of a push. There we go. And then it just opens up. Be a bit careful here with the back buttons. These are usually fine, but these are a bit flimsy and fragile. And that's the one that broke. I'm going to show you what happened there. So you can take this off. And then you see the inside of the back plate. And put that aside, and then you have your controller open. And as you see, here is what was my there you go, this button came off. I feel like there's a pretty apparent reason why that happened. If you look at the way this button, like these buttons are attached, like this is a rigid connection, like this is solid. There's still some twisting you could do, but not as much. And then they're pressing down here on the actual actuators, the actual buttons. This one is basically using this plastic connection as a spring. So you see, well, maybe from the other side. You can see that this button is it's just placed on here. But it also means that this is the weakest part here. And when you're pressing down on your buttons, you're never really pressing down straight. The way your fingers are placed, they're actually pushing in a little bit from the side. And you can already see in the connection here, look at what the movement is doing. You're creating torsion. And that's just the way your fingers are working. That's not, I don't think it's a weird way how I'm using my controller. So here's the new one that Razer sent me. So the way you're pressing is just naturally, I'm not pressing down perfectly straight. You might be doing this movement basically. And because this backplate doesn't have any guidance or any rails, it's just basically freely, not totally free, but kind of free pressing down here. This little plastic piece, is it gonna be in focus? This little plastic piece is gonna take all the stress, all the movement from this button is gonna go onto this connection. And that's exactly where it snapped off. You can see it on this button. Like this is the connection point, like these 2 points that broke off. Sorry, that wiggling is on my, and this came after almost exactly 8 months of use. And I mean, to be fair, I'm playing FPS. I'm mainly playing Apex Legends, and it's my jump button. So it's constantly being used. But I feel like, well, if you're selling a pro controller with back buttons, well, expect them to be used. And I find this is something they could design a little bit different so it doesn't create that torsion movement. Or at least design it in such a way, that this force can dissipate into something. Like now it's just going straight into this connection. Also, you can see that these points are melted in. So these are the connection points, and they're melted in. So there wouldn't really be a way to replace it. I guess you could, but then you have to break it out. You have to put in a new one and remelt it. It could be clipped, in my opinion. Like, you wouldn't have to do it this way. Yeah. So that's about it. So it's not just a bit of an undo how to open your controller. It's also a bit of a, well, criticism on the construction. Apart from that, I think it's a great controller. It's, in my opinion, one, if not the best Pro controller for Xbox. I first thought the button placement is a bit weird, but I actually find it quite natural for my hands, and I have bigger hands. Like the smaller controllers are usually not such a good fit for me. And I also built this controller from the stock controller, Xbox stock controller, and I built in the extreme rate conversion kit. But the problem for me is that the buttons, the way they're placed, it's a bit difficult to show. But look, my fingers would be resting here, but they need to be here. So I find myself holding the controller almost like this, but then I'm cramping around it to actually get a grip and foot my hand, like base my hand, so that I can aim correctly. And then my hands on the back are doing a really weird movement. So in that sense, if you think about it, the way I'm now naturally holding the controller, they're exactly there where the buttons are on this controller. All right, that's it.